Well, it's the beginning of my last week here. It's actually been really productive. I've got loads of work done. Normally, when I bring work down, I'll do a bit. But it's normally difficult to do a lot of work here because there are other people here. So having all this time to myself means that I've been able to spread out, organise my work, create the spaces that I've needed to, and it's been really productive. So it's felt like a really good trip. Of course, apart from the work, I've managed to catch up with friends, I've done some interesting walks, the weather's been amazing. Last night we had a big downpour and a thunderstorm, lightning the lot, love it. But this morning, nothing seems to have been battered. The rain sounded really heavy, really tough, but nothing's been flattened. I've been out and done a bit of tidying up in the garden though. There's a lot of rose petals everywhere. And now the sun is back out, the temperature's rising, and the garden looks fantastic. And the birds are happy, they're all in, eating on the feeders. So it's like a proper lazy Sunday actually today. It really feels like a proper Sunday. This morning I could hear the church bells across the village. It was really quintessentially English and it was wonderful. I love that, just listening to the bells in the morning as you're looking out over a sunny summer's garden and thinking, I don't have anything that I actually have to do today. I'm just going to amble about and do a bit of this, do a bit of that, be as lazy as I want to be. Gave my hair a trim this morning as well, which you can probably tell. My hair cutting skills are pretty dreadful, but I'm not going to pay someone £20 or £30 just to cut across there. And it grows really fast, so I cut it I think the week before I came away, and I've just chopped off a good inch or so off my fringe, and I've trimmed up some of the ends of it because my hair's so long now. I want to get it chopped up to here to give it a really good cut, but I'm not brave enough to do that myself. I'd have to book in for a haircut for that one. I can't be bothered. But it could do with a really good tidy up. I've been growing out my bangs, or some of them, from the last year, and they're to there now. But I'm not brave enough to get the whole lot done to here. We're not quite there. Although I have had my hair a lot shorter than that before. But can you imagine me with? I could do it. It wouldn't be a big deal. I used to be really precious about keeping my hair really, really long, but I've a few times been really brave and had it all chopped off. I had a cut once that was short at the back and then came down at the front, and I really liked that. But I don't know, maybe when I'm back down in September, I'll book with my mum's hairdresser and just get all of this chopped off and start again. It's good to give it a nice cut and get it all done properly. We'll see. I'll see how I feel. At the moment it doesn't look ridiculously shabby, and I'm going to colour it again when I get back because the grey is really showing through. Hey ho, I don't really worry what anybody else thinks, but it's nice to be a little bit tidy. It makes you feel a bit nice. Look at that long streak there. Good grief. Anyway, I'm at that age. So yeah, so a lovely start to my final week. This time next week I shall be home, and I'm already thinking about what I'm going to find when I get there. I mean, what will be will be. There's no point in worrying about it because stuff will either be dead or alive. With having some heavy downpours of rain this weekend back home, and there have been a couple of small downpours over the last week or so. So if anything that was still alive outdoors was still alive at that point, it may have revived. But I'm not holding out any hope. Hopefully indoors will be fine. I had that bath pretty full with water before I left. So even if it's dried out in recent days or within the next week, those pots are quite deep and it's quite clay soil, so they should be all right in there, and they're quite shaded. They're not in the sun there. So fingers crossed, at the very least I will have strawberries and tomatoes, and I will have saved one of my mint plants and a few other things. But we will see what we shall find when we get there. I'm not going to worry about that for now because I have to get through the next 7 days. Not really get through it. It's not really a struggle, is it? Anyway, there we are. Right, Tuesday morning. Been waiting for the big thunderstorm and very heavy rain to end. I'm now heading out to the shops to do a top-up shop for my parents. Isn't my life fascinating? Their idea of a top-up shop is different to mine, and I'm just buying the things that they would normally have because that's what they like. So this will be an interesting comparison shop. I have 3 shops to go to. I need to go to Waitrose, I need to go to the garden centre, and I need to go to the farm shop. And then I'm also, while I'm out, I'm going to get petrol to top up, ready for my return home at the weekend. So let's get on the road. Let's just check we actually have our payment cards. I'm still using my new John Lewis credit card, and I've paid off a chunk of it overnight so that I can use it again today and get more points, because I'm quite liking the points on John Lewis at the moment. Might be worth the effort if I just use it for day-to-day food and pay it off every month like I would have done if I'd had the other credit card, except that I get points which I don't get on my other credit card. So let's hit the road. Let's find what we shall find. Okay, that's the first stage completed. I've been to Waitrose. I got a few basics. That's all I got, and that came to £51.46. I don't even know where to start with that. That's almost what I've spent this entire year so far on food. It's just bonkers. Okay. But just think of all the points I'm earning on my John Lewis card. Right. Next stage. I'm off to the garden centre. This is to buy bird food. The birds have been through a lot of food in the 3 weeks. They've eaten all the fat balls and all the no-grow seed. So it needs replacing. Mum won't be happy if she comes back and finds there's no bird food left. So that's where we are now off to. Just down the road. Next port of call. Right, that's the garden centre done as well. A tub of 50 fat balls and a bag of bird food cost £24.98. That's the farm shop done. That cost a whopping £28.41. Bit of veg, some crisps, baked potatoes, some rhubarb, couple of cakes. Again, just stuff that they would always buy. Right, I'm just working out how much is going to be left on the card for my last port of call, which is topping up the car with petrol. I'm hoping to get it all in one card, but I suspect I've probably blitzed my entire card on shopping and I'll have to use my other credit card. So let's have a look, see what we've got here. So that was, I had 121 and 3 pence to spend, and I've spent I've got £16 left, which is not going to be enough petrol, so I'm going to have to use my other card, which is a little bit of pain in the backside, but never mind. I get to get Nectar points because I'm going to Sainsbury's. Ho hum. Right, let's get this last bit done then, then we can go home. I'm back. That took a couple of hours, pretty much. Just thought I'd give you an overview of what I got for the money, because prices are still stupid, but of course I also went shopping in places I would never normally go to, because they are absolutely outside my budget. Now, everything I've bought today is standard stuff that my parents would buy on a regular, weekly or monthly basis. So there's no specials here, there's nothing unusual. So I'm going to show you Waitrose first. So this is what £51 will buy you in Waitrose. And this is not a proper shop, this is just top-ups of things that needed replacing while they've been away, things that will help them tick over for a week when they get back, so Mum doesn't have to go straight out to the shops after I've gone. The only thing that isn't for them is this, because Waitrose was doing the 75% off again, so I have to knock that off the receipt. But everything else is very standard stuff. Love the size of that broccoli head. That is enormous. The other shop was the farm shop. Again, this is all standard stuff that my mum would buy at local shop. You see the size of that rhubarb. Absolutely incredible. So I bought a few of those. Not too small in the middle. There you go. They love a bit of stewed rhubarb, and anything that's left over will go in the freezer, so nothing's wasted. And they also do asparagus when it's in season. They've got a lot in at the moment, and they love that too. The farm shop is an amazing place. The quality of the veg and the fruit, and all their cakes are all their own brand. There's nothing branded apart from some of these pre-packaged crisps and things, which my mum absolutely loves. So yeah, but you know, like that lemon drizzle cake there, that's £4.99, which is extraordinarily expensive. So that's what an average top-up shop could look like every week. I'm just topping up things that I think will help them tick over, or things that I know they will use for the week after I go back. It's Wednesday evening. My parents arrive home tomorrow morning. I think they dock in London at about 8:30 a.m. So I'm going to guess they're going to be home 10ish maybe, depending on how things go. I was really stressed out yesterday at the thought of everyone coming home and the usual chaos that comes with it. And today felt worse because there's a lady who runs a lot of the gardening for the village, and she was directing gardens to come and chop bits off some of the trees that are in the public green areas. And she's well known as a tree killer. She chops down pretty much anything she doesn't like. And you could hear them all day cutting back trees and using a wood chipper, and it just sounded like absolute carnage. And then I saw them stalking around the trees at the front of the house, and I just thought, they're going to come and chop the trees down. They were looking at all the trees and talking about them and pointing at them, and I just got so stressed out about it. And eventually, late afternoon, they came round with their chainsaws and their ladders and things, and I thought, oh God. But luckily, they've only trimmed certain bits inside two of the big trees right at the back, which I think there were some dead branches in the middle, and you can't really tell. They just seem to hack off a lot, but you can't really tell just by looking at them that they've been chopped. So I'm hoping that was it. I'm hoping they're not going to come back again tomorrow and do the rest of them.
that really stressed me out because I thought, if they start just hacking away at the trees, what do I do? Can I stop them? My parents aren't here. My parents would be out there like a shot having a go, but I don't live here, and there isn't much of a dynamic. This lady doesn't get on with anybody. They all hate her because of how slapdash she is, and she never tells any of the residents what was going on. But anyway, so it meant that I spent most of the day on high alert looking out for these guys with their chainsaws. And once I knew that they had finished and they were going for the day, my stress level just dropped. Oh, I don't get stressed out normally. I deal with everything in my stride. But when I see trees being unnecessarily cut down because they don't fit, or somebody just doesn't like a tree, it really upsets me. You might remember I did a No Mow May rant not so long ago, and I'm still saddened by that. And I read an article afterwards that lots of places where they'd had No Mow May and then they suddenly started hacking back all their long grass, the number of injuries to hedgehogs went right up. So I get really, really stressed out when I see nature being unnecessarily hacked back, especially in this day and age when we should be trying to nurture everything because we don't have much as it is. Anyway, so I think it's an accumulation of things that have left me feeling a bit stressy. So it's just mum and dad coming home and knowing that it's going to go back to being a very noisy environment, which I don't do very well with. I've only got a couple of days after they get back. I'm going to go back at the weekend. So it'll be a few days. It'll be nice to see them again, and then I can go home. And when I get home, I think I'm going to need to do a bit of a detox. I don't watch the news, and I tend to skim read headlines a couple of times a day just to see what's going on in the world. But I don't usually get in depth on any of it. And I've been watching too many YouTube videos about frugality and about how the financial world works and things, and about how silly things like, well, not silly things at all, like how creators, small creators, people like me, are finding it harder and harder to make a living on social media because everything is pay to play and everything has been monetized, and you just don't stand a chance anymore. There's just no way you're going to make a living out of it. It's all about shareholders. It's about CEO paychecks, and nobody else matters. And I'm probably also reading too much about AI and about how it is being used in everything. And I've talked before about how, there are problems with AI being used to write scripts, and it's taking over customer service desks and all this sort of thing. It's like we are hell bent on trying to make as much of the world unemployed as possible with no infrastructure to back it up. There won't be many jobs soon that can't be automated in some way to enable companies to save a lot of money. And what are you going to do with the people who still have mortgages to pay and children to feed? And it's just horrifying that we just don't think about the effects of everything that we're doing. And that's what I have to shut off from, because me thinking about it and me worrying about it does not change it. The best I can do is protect myself, be financially savvy. I hope that I can still make some kind of living in this ridiculous world that we're now in. I mean, today they've talked about inflation going up again. Overnight I had the bank that I use for my regular savings is where I put every spare penny that I have, goes into this easy access account that's like one of these digital online banks, and every time I have a spare penny it goes in there trying to make interest, and overnight they've put their rate up to 4.10, which is so much for an easy access account. And it's because inflation's going up, interest rates are still going up. But of course the downside of that is that that means mortgages are going to go up, and if mortgages go up that means my rent's going to go up, and I've only got a few months before I'm going to get my renewal through, and it just sickens me because it's not a case for me of is it going to go up, it's by how much. And I hear about people whose mortgages are going up over £1,000. And as I said before, mortgages are no guarantee of security. If you can't pay your mortgage, they will take your house away. It's just messier than rent. At least if it's rent, you just, you don't renew your contract and you move on. If it's your mortgage, it's the house that you've built, it's the home that you've made. You've decorated everything. You might have years and years of memories there, and they will take it away from you. And this is the problem. There's no consideration for anybody anymore. It's all about profit margins, and nobody seems to care about looking after anybody. And this is what makes it so sad on things like e-commerce and places like YouTube, where you can't even scrape together a partial living out of these things anymore because everything's about paying for ads. Paying for ads which don't get you any sales, but they make the company a lot of money in ad revenue. And that's now what it's become, and it's just, I don't get it anymore. I just don't get it. So when I get back, I am going to have a detox. I'm going to try and not watch anything on YouTube. Or not much anyway, just the nice things, because there are some nice things on there. And I'm just going to try and take a step down for a bit and just clear my head, because I can feel it brimming here in me, and it's like, oof. Yeah, and I think today was just like the tipping point of I've been kind of grazing away at negative stuff and not really realising just how much damage it does until something like today happens with the trees, and then suddenly you realise you're actually a lot more stressed out than you realised you were mentally, if not physically. So anyway, I've reached my tipping point, so I'm just going to get the rest of this week over with. So I have Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday I'm going home. And then, provided there's nothing too stressful when I get back, I shall just detox and get back into routine. That's the way it is right now.